BMW engines have been debated, ranked, and argued over for decades. But here is the problem. The engines that get the most praise are not always the ones that deserve it. And the engines that get ignored or dismissed are sometimes the most extraordinary things BMW ever built. By the end of this video, you will see BMW engines in a completely different light. We are covering 3 engines that are wildly overhyped, celebrated far beyond what they actually deliver, and 3 engines that are criminally underrated and deserve far more respect than the BMW community has ever given them. Let us start with the ones that have been fooling everyone. Starting off with the 3 most overhyped BMW engines. The S62 V8. The S62 V8, found in the E39 M5 and the Z8 Roadster from 1998 to 2003, is one of the most celebrated BMW engines of all time. Car journalists declared the E39 M5 the greatest sports sedan ever made. Magazines ran cover stories calling the S62 a masterpiece. The internet has kept that reputation alive for over 2 decades. And here is the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The S62 is a genuinely good engine that has been so dramatically overpraised that no real-world ownership experience can ever match the mythology surrounding it. The S62 is a naturally aspirated 4.9-liter V8 producing 394 horsepower and 369 lb-ft of torque. Those are solid numbers for the year 2000. It uses individual throttle bodies, double vanos on both camshafts, and produces a characterful V8 soundtrack that rewards drivers who rev it out. It is smooth, it is well engineered, and it is enjoyable to drive. But it is not a landmark piece of engineering. It is a well-executed V8 from a manufacturer that has always excelled at inline-6 engines and stretched itself into V8 territory with competence, not brilliance. The Vanos units on the S62 are expensive and failure-prone, costing $1,500 to $3,000 to rebuild when they go, and they will go on any high-mileage example. The cooling system is complex and aging, with genuine parts availability becoming a real concern on a car that is now over 25 years old. What truly made the E39 M5 special was the complete package: the chassis, the steering, the balance. Journalists fell in love with the whole car and credited the engine with more magic than it was actually providing. The S62 is good. It is not transcendent. And the BMW community has refused to acknowledge that difference for 25 years. Up next is the N55 Inline-6. The N55 turbocharged Inline-6, found in the 335i, 135i, 535i, X5, and Z4 models from 2009 to 2016, has built a reputation as BMW's most reliable modern turbocharged engine. The sensible choice, the engine you buy when you want performance without the drama of the N54. And while the N55 is genuinely more reliable than the N54 in certain areas, the BMW community has elevated it to a level of reverence that obscures its real limitations and creates false expectations for buyers going in unprepared. Here is what the N55 actually improved. It replaced the twin-turbo setup with a single twin-scroll turbocharger, simplifying the boost system and removing one failure point. The updated fuel injectors reduced some of the high-pressure fuel pump drama. The overall package is smoother and slightly more refined. These are real improvements. But the BMW internet has taken these incremental gains and turned the N55 into something it is not: a bulletproof, set-it-and-forget-it engine that laughs at high mileage. The N55 still suffers from the same direct injection carbon buildup as the N54, requiring walnut blasting every 60,000 miles at a cost of $800 to $1,200. The electric water pump remains a known failure item. High-pressure fuel pump issues still appear in ownership forums with concerning regularity. And most revealingly, the N55's tuning ceiling is significantly lower than the N54's. Modification for modification, the N54's twin-turbo architecture moves more air and produces more power at every tuning stage. The N55 is a competent, reasonable, adequately reliable turbocharged 6. It is simply not the landmark achievement that its reputation constantly suggests, and buyers expecting trouble-free high mileage are frequently surprised when real ownership arrives. Up next is the S55 Inline-6. The S55 twin-turbocharged Inline-6, found in the F80 M3 and F82 M4 from 2014 to 2020, was BMW M's answer to a question enthusiasts have been asking since the naturally aspirated S65 V8 was discontinued. Can a turbocharged M engine deliver the same emotional connection? After 6 years of the S55 in production, the answer is an honest no. And yet the BMW community has spent years convincing itself otherwise, building an overhyped narrative around an engine that is technically excellent but spiritually disappointing. From a pure numbers standpoint, the S55 impresses. It produces 425 horsepower from 3.0 liters with twin monoscroll turbochargers, a closed-deck block, forged internals, and a 7,500 revolutions per minute redline. Independent dyno testing consistently shows it making closer to 430 to 440 horsepower at the crank. World record builds have pushed the S55 past 1,150 wheel horsepower, proving the block's fundamental strength. But the S55 has a well-documented crankcase ventilation problem that pushes oil into the intake manifold under hard driving, causing accelerated carbon buildup. Rod bearings still require preventive replacement at 60,000 to 80,000 miles at a starting cost of $3,000. And most critically, the S55 simply does not feel special in the way that the S54 and S65 before it did. Drivers who have spent time in both an S65-powered E92 M3 and an S55-powered F80 M3 almost universally describe the S65 as more emotionally engaging, despite its lower power output. The S55 is faster, more efficient, and more powerful in every measurable way. It is just not as great as everyone insists it is. Now for the 3 most underrated BMW engines nobody talks about. The M50 Inline-6. The M50 naturally aspirated Inline-6 found in the E34 520i and 525i and the E36 320i and 325i from 1990 to 1996 is the engine almost no one under 30 talks about anymore, and that silence is one of the great injustices in the BMW community. Everything that enthusiasts love about the M54, the S54, and even the modern B58 traces its DNA directly back to the M50. This is the engine that established BMW's Inline-6 character. This is the foundation on which the company's entire performance reputation was built, and it has been almost completely forgotten. The M50 came in 2 forms. The original produced between 150 and 189 horsepower from 2.0 and 2.5-liter displacements using a cast-iron block with dual overhead camshafts. In 1992, BMW introduced the M50 TU, the technical update, which added the very first generation of Vano's variable valve timing to the intake camshaft. This was genuinely revolutionary. Vano's had never appeared on a production BMW before, and its addition transformed low-end torque delivery while preserving the high-revving character that made the original compelling. Every Vano's system on every BMW engine built since 1992 owes its existence to this engine. What makes the M50 remarkable today is its extraordinary durability. The cast-iron block provides thermal stability that aluminum block engines cannot match. Owners have documented M50-powered E34s running past 400,000 miles on original internals with nothing more than regular oil changes and cooling system maintenance. There are no plastic timing chain guides waiting to shatter. No turbos cooking themselves in a hot valley. No high-pressure fuel pumps failing on the highway. Smart buyers who find a well-maintained M50 are acquiring a piece of automotive history that will still be running long after everything around it has been scrapped. Up next is the N54 Inline-6. The N54 twin-turbocharged Inline-6 found in the 335i, 135i, Z435i, and 1M from 2006 to 2013 has one of the most unfair reputations in BMW history. Mainstream automotive media spent years cataloging its reliability problems: high-pressure fuel pump failures, wastegate rattle, injector issues, charge pipe cracks. Casual buyers were steered away. Used car advisors told people to find an N55 instead. And in doing so, they created a narrative that is fundamentally dishonest, and one that has driven prices down on one of the most genuinely exciting engines BMW has ever produced. Here is what actually happened. The early high-pressure fuel pumps were genuinely problematic. BMW acknowledged this, issued recalls, and by the time Index 11 injectors arrived after 2012, the worst of the fuel system drama was resolved. Wastegate rattle turned out to be a noise issue rather than a structural failure, and the aftermarket quickly produced upgraded wastegates that eliminated it completely. Every major N54 problem has a known solution, and in 2025 those solutions are inexpensive, well documented, and supported by a mature enthusiast community. A basic ECU flash costing $400 to $600 takes a stock N54 to approximately 370 to 380 wheel horsepower. Bolt-on turbo upgrades push past 500 wheel horsepower. The 1M, the most sought-after BMW of the modern era, runs the N54. The 135i with an N54 is one of the most entertaining performance bargains in the entire used car market. Smart buyers research the known issues, buy a post-2010 example with updated injectors and a clean history, address the charge pipes and boost solenoids preventively, and enjoy an engine that no other BMW in the same price bracket can come close to matching. Finally, the S54 Inline-6. The S54 naturally aspirated Inline-6 found in the E46 M3 and the Z4M and Z3M models from 2000 to 2006 is, by any honest assessment, one of the 2 or 3 greatest BMW engines ever created. It holds award's 10 Best Engines award. It produces over 100 horsepower per liter from a naturally aspirated street engine. Its 8,000 revolutions per minute redline creates a driving experience that owners describe as closer to a motorcycle than a road car. And yet the BMW community routinely dismisses it as an old engine with maintenance issues rather than celebrating it as the masterpiece it genuinely is. The S54 produces 338 horsepower from 3.2 liters using individual throttle bodies, high-lift camshafts, and an engine management system built specifically for the M3 application. Unlike turbocharged engines that deliver power in a surge of boost pressure, the S54 builds its power in a linear, progressive climb that encourages the driver to explore every single RPM between idle and the redline. The throttle response is instantaneous because there is no turbocharger waiting to spool. The engine changes character as the revs climb, approachable below 4,000 revolutions per minute, increasingly urgent above 5,000, and genuinely breathtaking in those final 2,000 revolutions before the limiter arrives. The S54's reputation suffers primarily from 2 issues: Vano seal degradation and rod bearing wear. Vano seals should be rebuilt between 80,000 and 100,000 miles at a cost of $600 to $1,000. Rod bearing replacement runs $1,500 to $2,500 when done preventively. These are scheduled maintenance items, not catastrophic failures. Naturally aspirated M engines of this character will never be built again, not because BMW cannot build them, but because modern emissions regulations make a street-legal 100 horsepower per liter naturally aspirated engine commercially impossible today. Smart buyers treat the maintenance costs as the admission fee to an experience that money simply cannot buy new. And every single one of them says it is worth every penny. These 6 engines tell a story the BMW community has been getting wrong for years. The engines that receive the most praise are not always the ones that deserve it most. The S62 is excellent but not legendary. The N55 is reliable but not exceptional. The S55 is technically impressive but emotionally flat. And while the internet debates those engines endlessly, the M50 quietly accumulates impossible mileage in aging E34s with zero drama. The N54, written off as unreliable, turns out to be the most tunable, most exciting, most characterful turbocharged BMW engine ever made, once you actually know how to own one. And the S54 sits in E46 M3s that are quietly becoming future classics, offering a naturally aspirated experience that no amount of money can buy brand new today. The most important lesson is simple: do not let reputation substitute for research. The engines that surprise everyone are always the ones that reward the buyers who looked past the noise and made their decision based on what they actually wanted from ownership, not what the internet told them to want. If this video changed how you see any of these engines, hit that like button. And if you want to keep going deeper into the real stories behind BMW engineering, hit that subscribe button and I will see you in the next one.